In the wake of the disastrous hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, Hurricane Maria, there are many officials in the current administration that have settled on an official death toll of about 64. Now, that number, according to a new study, is actually wildly incorrect. So this study, published in the New England Journal of Medicine on Monday, actually found that there was a much, much higher death toll than what the official administration death toll is from the hurricane. Now, according to that study, Hurricane Maria had actually killed a total of 4,645 people. Wow. That is actually more than Hurricane Katrina and 9/11. So, look, and like you talk to right-wingers, right? For example, Rudy Giuliani got recently booed at a New York game, right? Some sort of sporting event. You can tell I don't pay attention to sports. But anyway, a lot of right-wingers like, oh my God, never forget 9/11, right? Well, there are more people that died from climate change, which is what fueled this storm, than 9/11. How come nobody's saying, remember Puerto Rico? Remember Puerto Rico? Well, it's because nobody cares. At least they don't care about Puerto Rico. And unfortunately, the media also does not care about Puerto Rico. Look, again, the study found that post-hurricane mortality rate was about 14.3 deaths per 1,000 persons, which was a 62% increase from the pre-storm mortality rate during the same period back in 2016. Now, what are the reasons for that? Well, of course, after Hurricane Maria hit, a lot of their infrastructure, which was already old and kind of falling apart, was decimated. So, of course, there were stores that couldn't store food. You had a lack of water, food, medicine, shelter, medicinal facilities. In fact, the two biggest factors were lack of access to medication and medical facilities. That actually ended up causing the most fatalities, and of course, that normally affects people who are children or elderly people. Now, it gets worse, though, because if you didn't think 4,645 people was bad enough, no, researchers actually say their estimated death toll is likely to be an underestimate. Now, the study by a group of Harvard University researchers, as well as experts in Puerto Rico, found that the death toll, as I said, was actually 70 times higher than the official estimate. Now, that is consistent with other investigations that have found the storm deaths were far higher than the official count. How they came up with the number that they came up with in this study is that researchers surveyed about 3,299 randomly chosen households in Puerto Rico. And they calculated the excess deaths by comparing post-hurricane mortality rates with the same period before, as I mentioned, when there was no major storm. According to the study, the death toll may have exceeded over 5,000 people. So now, why isn't this news? Well, I mentioned before, it's because they don't care. Now, why don't they care, or why don't they want to mention it? Well, for one, this storm was fueled in part by climate change. Now, look, climate change doesn't cause storms, but it actually causes the storms that we already have, that we already get during a season, to get stronger due to the warmer water. Or as Trump would put it, big ocean water. Big water. And look, the other reason that they don't want to mention it is because the Trump administration had a terrible response to it. Food and medicine, and took a long time to get to the island, and of course power. Look, the Trump administration hired a company to try to restore power that had 2 employees, and they were getting paid an exorbitant amount. And that was their response to it. It was just another money-making scheme, which is incredibly sad when you have a government that is essentially only there to try to make money for themselves and their friends. And look, not only that, but there's not a lot of attention was paid to it by the administration at all. And that, of course, is to be blamed for this slow response. I mean, when you look at the response compared to other storms that happened within the same time period, For example, Florida and Texas. Well, Florida and Texas actually got more aid. They got it quicker, and they had more attention paid to it. Look, this whole situation reminds me a lot of Hurricane Katrina. Now, that was a debacle. That happened during the Bush administration. And, of course, Bush and FEMA under that director got a lot of heat for it. And, of course, they deserved that. Maria is Trump's Katrina. And, of course, when it comes to Trump, it gets far, far worse. Again, over 5,000 estimated dead, not only from the storm itself, but the aftermath, the slow response from the government. And yet, according to Vox, the White House's latest budget proposal seeks a 72% cut to clean energy research and reduces FEMA's budget by almost $600 million. So, look, that's a decent amount of money. Not only cut from climate change, but also from FEMA. So we're not going to work on reducing the impact of climate change by switching over to clean energy. Oh, no. And we're also going to cut funding for an agency that has to clean up after climate change fueled events. Fucking brilliant. What a smart government that we have. Run by incredibly smart people. We're going to make climate change worse. Again, we pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So climate change is going to get worse. Not going to get any better. Storms are going to get stronger. They're going to be more frequent. Floods, etc. And then we're going to defund the agency that actually helps people recover. Fucking brilliant, man. Jesus. Look, I would expect to see more of these disasters in the future. I mean, we're definitely on track to see this. Look, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe one of them will hit Mar-a-Lago. Maybe then, the Trump administration might actually start to give a shit. Until then, I wouldn't count on us doing anything. These people in office are monstrous. They continue to put the oil companies and their profits above human life. That makes me sick. And it should make you sick too. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.